from Sparksmith, helping you see and be seen. Today, we are going to install our new Sparksmith brand full LED cat-eye headlights onto my truck. So, when you first pull them out, you've got obviously the headlight with your dual LED projectors, and you've got 3 plugs on the back, low beam, high beam, and then this is the connector that goes to the parking light housing for your running light functions. Now, the parking light has factory connections for the rectangles there are the amber running and turn, and then the 2 tubes here are a white daytime running light. And the way it works is this is your turn signal input, so parking and turn come from this, and this is daytime running light, and this is what activates the white function here. So we'll talk about how that's going to get wired up here in just a second. Okay, so removing the headlights on these trucks is exceedingly simple. I've done it so many times that this grill is falling apart. But you have to remove the cover, plastic cover that goes here, has a couple little top tabs. Remove those. If you're like me and you have some grill bars in here, just unplug those. And once you get the grill out of the way, the headlights come out with these 2 pins on the top, and the bottom one's just slid into place. Okay, so once you've got the grill out of the way and you got the headlights removed, you can start installing the new ones. And yeah, Key and I might notice that I am in fact wearing different clothes because we couldn't finish this yesterday. Anyway, you can get your parking light. Now I recommend when you go to do this, switch your lights on, because each of these plugs is polarity sensitive, so you will need to make sure they are in the right orientation. Now, my truck has essentially a double shot setup on it. So both of them do the same, but if you don't have the double shot, that's okay. You can use your daytime running light will go to the white plug with 2 wires, and the one labeled turn signal will go to the brown plug with 3 wires. It'll look something like this. And when you plug it in, you want to make sure it looks like that, because if it's backwards, it'll look like that, and you can probably tell that that's brighter. If you happen to have tow mirrors like mine, you'll see that it's activated the turn signal, so that tells you that that plug is in backwards. So if that's the case, unplug it, flip it, and plug it back in. Now, one thing to note on these is it'll come with this tube of dielectric grease. Mine have already been done, but you want to make sure you take this stuff and fill that cavity with the grease on all 4 plugs. You get that plugged in, and make sure when you plug it in, you want it to go all the way down in there. Yeah. So you can get it in and things will work, but you got to make sure you should feel it kind of click into place. That way you know you've got it in right. Now on the daytime running light plug, that one also is polarity sensitive. If you get it in incorrectly, you can see it activated the turn signal. See how much brighter that got on the amber part. But if you have it incorrectly, it'll turn on just the white running light. Lastly, we're going to include a piece of heat shrink to go between your factory. Obviously this one's not factory, but your factory one will look something similar to this. The marker light for the side is just a T10 slip-on kind of connection, and doesn't have anything to mechanically secure it. Again, don't forget the dielectric grease. And then this one, you just kind of slide it into place. Make sure that this little side marker comes on, but the plug literally just slides in, run your heat shrink over it, and then you'll hit that with a lighter or a heat gun or something to kind of the lower assembly plugged in. You make sure everything's working. You want to take this pigtail coming off of the upper light, and it's best to run it behind this support piece just so that's less interference. And again, this is a polarity sensitive plug, so make sure that when you plug it in, that light should pop on. And you just screw that down so that it locks into place. Now, once that's all working, you can take your parking light and it just kind of clicks into place. But if you're like me and you want a little extra security, I would recommend going out to the local hardware store and pick you up a couple of number 10 stainless steel screws. This one's 3 inches long. You can get it from any hardware store. And then right here, I drilled a 3/16 hole. And what that does is when you run this in, it actually runs the screw into this pocket right here, and it makes it so that this light cannot fall out. So we've got that done. The upper one, once again, it's polarity sensitive. Don't forget the grease. You want to plug your low beam. The low beam and high beam, they have a little plus and minus. I don't know if the camera can pick it up, but there's a plus and a minus on each one of them. And make sure that the plus sign goes to the positive wire of the plug. And you'll see that low beam kick on. And same thing with the high beam. And just kind of set this guy in place. Slide the pin back in. And then put the grill back on and we'll go through the adjustment process. Okay, so the general rule of thumb is that you want to be about 25 feet away from some vertical surface, and across 25 feet, this line should drop about an inch. So right now, when I measure at the ground over there, it's 47 inches. So we're looking for 46, which is just below this inch. So you can see we kind of bring those down just a little bit. Okay, so adjustment's pretty simple. It's got this adjuster right here up on the top, and just go one way or the other, figure out if you need to go up or down. You can see on the wall over there, I'm getting pretty close. It needs to be right about there. Then you just make it match on the other side. When you're done, you want them to look basically like this, where each cutoff is at the same height. Some people think it needs to look like a set of stairs. No, they need to, the general convention is that you want both steps to be at the same height. And you get a nice even cutoff like that so that you see where you need to see, but you're not gonna be blinding any oncoming traffic. You wanna try to do